Hi, everyone. Happy book club night. We're back. It's March, and it is time to start thinking about the sun coming out and maybe getting a beach vacation in. So, tonight we are discussing Beach Read by Emily Henry. And if you have read it, you know there are some steamy parts. There are some pretty good steamy parts in there. All right, tonight, before we get started, I just want to give a reminder to everybody about what we're reading next month in April. Are We There Yet? Which is really sort of very Leanne Moriarty-ish, if you're a fan of Leanne, Big Little Lies, The Husband's Secret, that type of thing, but also funny. So Kathleen West is also a Minnesotan, and I had the pleasure of getting to know her at her debut event. And her debut novel, you can see on the bottom here, was Minor Dramas and Other Catastrophes. Kathleen has an angle on the suburban mom and what it's like to be a suburban mom and how crazy we drive each other or drive ourselves really in the process, and how much drama is involved in all that. So Kathleen will be joining us, and that'll be fantastic. And again, that's in April. Tonight, however, we are doing something a little bit different as we discuss Beach Read. Emily Henry wasn't able to join us, unfortunately. However, we have a comedian joining us tonight, a good friend of mine. And if you are in the Minneapolis area, and when we can get out again and enjoy shows, you can find her in the clubs, and she's really worth it. So without further ado, introducing Julie Bane, my friend. Hello, Miss Bane.
Yay! There's all the clapping. So quiet. I need clapping. I need fanfare. So quiet. Thank you for that awesome applause.
Okay, so Jules, I asked you here tonight because I thought it would be kind of fun, and you would be the perfect candidate for playing, since this is a book club. Everyone who has ever been in a book club before knows that there is always a member who has not read the book but still has opinions. So that is the role Julie is going to be playing with us tonight. She has not read the book. She has not received, you haven't received any promotional bookmarks or tote bags or anything Emily Henry related, correct?
I wish, yeah.
You're just going to
love some swag.
Let
me some free swag, Emily Henry.
I'll put a note into Emily, and it'll carry 0 weight. Just
yeah, I love it.
Okay. Oh, and also at the book club, the other thing is the person who always has the strongest opinions also happens to be drinking. So cheers, everyone. Here's to tonight. Julie, you want to show us the shot you did before you came on camera?
Yes. I found these in my refrigerator. They are called Pussycat shots, and they're making a lot of noise. They're like, this little top thing keeps crackling, so I don't know if they're gonna like self-explode over here. So if I just go away, all of a sudden,
because your house is exploded.
It's just all of a sudden it's crackling. So I don't know.
You've been taken out by the Pussycat shots?
Yes.
All right. Well, Jules, before everybody, as you're tuning in, we're getting more and more numbers. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And I'm anxious to hear what you thought of the book. Again, if Bethany wants to know if they're making sounds in your fridge. No, they're next to her, right?
They didn't. I didn't think they made sounds in my fridge, but I took the whole foursome out, and they're right next to me, and the top keeps like crackling. So I have no idea what science experiment is about to go wrong right now. But maybe it'll go live. Maybe we'll go viral because we'll have a pussycat explosion.
Well, we have a regular in the book club who is a nurse, and so I know that if you get like if it explodes and you get a head injury, we can treat you by video.
Nice.
If you
And my
suddenly
husband's an EMT, so maybe we could do it live. So exciting.
if you suddenly have a shot glass embedded in your temple,
Stuck in- That'd be amazing. That would be my Halloween costume then, just me reliving it with a shot glass in my head. I love it.
that might even go viral. That could help us. Would you?
Be like, what is this? This is from book club, my book club night when I got a shot glass stuck in my head.
Okay, okay, Jules. So tell us, what is your book club experience? Have you been in book clubs before?
Yes. So I used to work at Prudential and we had an awesome book club, but I got kicked out because we used to read the same like period pieces, and there's only like so many times I can read books about the 1800s before I just lose my mind and just stop reading. Also, I think I just started getting dumber, so I would just read like half the book and then just show up and fake it for the interaction in the food. So one of the women kicked me out, and she didn't even belong. She didn't even work with us. I don't even know where she came from. So she just told me to stop coming, and she's like,
What
all
did
right,
that
fine.
look like? Like, did she honestly call you or email, or did she break up with you by text?
No, she was just like, I don't think people that don't finish the book should keep coming. And I was like, all right, fine. I'm going to join a golf league.
I'm gonna join a golf
I need
league.
some vitamin D anyways. I can just show up with my clubs and
And read on the course.
Yes. So yeah, so they wouldn't even switch like genres. So I'm sorry, and to be honest, like I do think I've gotten a little dumber. I can't finish books. Too much reality TV has warped my mind.
Too much reality TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about our last year, 2020, is that fiction books now seem irrelevant because everything has been so strange and out of the ordinary that fiction just seems too normal now. Like it was beyond anything that we would put in books. Our editors would be like, dial it back.
I'd say, nope, that's real.
Oh yeah. Oh no, that's fine. That's real. All right. Can you guess? Here's the book, Jules. Can you guess what Beach Read may be about? What's your guess?
Beach Read. I'm gonna guess it has to do with lying on the beach and soaking in the sun. Maybe all the craziness going on in Miami Beach right now. Maybe just spring break.
Oh my God, that's a good guess. Okay, it's kind of close. Here's what it is. Emily actually has this kind of really interesting backstory on the book. And it's funny because she said she has this friend. If you've read, it's in the reader's guide. If you have the book and you haven't read her author's note, it's actually good and insightful. But she has this friend who has a theory that the movie The Shining is really just about a writer going crazy with writer's block. It's just an entire movie about writer's block. And she said, when friends ask me what Beach Read is about, I tell them it's about a disillusioned romance author and a literary fiction writer who make a deal to swap genres for the summer. When other writers ask me what Beach Read is about, I tell them it's about writer's block. And I actually read her author's note before I read the book. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be perfect for me because I'm on book deadline right now. And I am wound so tight and I have so many deadlines. And every time I read how they would like get together and drink, I was just like, where is my writer friend? Bring over shots. But then they wake up the next day and they're totally unproductive because they're so hungover. So I guess it's good that I've been skipping that part. But anyway, yeah. So essentially, if anybody out there hasn't read it, here's the basic summary. So January, her name is January, is a successful best-selling romance author. And she inherits a beach house on Lake Michigan from her father for undesirable reasons that she gets into over the course of the book. and and the guy who she discovers lives in the beach house next door is her like rival, her from college, who is a best-selling literary fiction author. And so it's really one of those like love hate books. Are they gonna fall in love or are they not type of books? And like she says, they end up challenging each other to swap genres because he's super like highbrow literary fiction, and she, being a romance author, feels sensitive about it. That, because people tend to, she interprets it like he's downplaying, he's poo-pooing her genre and her writing skills. So they swap and they go on all kinds of adventures and sex ensues. Does that surprise you?
Sounds like Bridgerton.
Sounds like Bridgerton. Yeah, it's probably pretty Bridgerton. Okay. So did I miss anybody or did I miss anything, people? Anything I overlooked? All right. So here's the first question. I actually liked a lot of her discussion questions. Okay. So this one struck me. Her discussion at the very beginning about writing women's fiction resonated with me so much because I get tagged as contemporary women's fiction as well. And I mean, I'm a woman, but there is no category called men's fiction. It's just that we write about women's lives, but we don't exclusively write about women's lives. We write about men's lives too. We write about, I don't know. There was a dog in my last book. Should it be contemporary dog fiction? How is your dog, by the way, Jules?
It's crazy.
Julie has a new puppy.
He needs to go back to daycare.
Okay, so January has a chip on her shoulder from negative reactions to her genre of choice, which is romance. Have you ever felt book shamed for liking a particular genre? Or career shamed? Have you ever felt career shamed, Jules?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess maybe like when I was in college and I worked for a before and after school recreation program, and I loved it because all we did was like play outside or go to the pool in the summer. It was amazing. But everyone was like, you got to get a real job. I'm like, this is amazing though. Like all we do is play like all day long. Like why would I want to do anything else? But eventually, you kind of got to go do something else. So, but yeah, I mean, you get a tan. Like why would you want to do anything but play with kids all day long?
It's funny. Because it's like the jobs that people often consider real jobs are really the ones that just make you miserable. So it's as if, if you're equating a miserable life with a real life. And how sad is that?
Yeah. Yeah, because then I went into insurance and it's like, oh, God. Like it's so soul sucky where you're like, you know what I mean? Like you're playing with kids all day to like working in insurance. Like, no.
Well, that's what your career test said in high school. I do remember that. It said that you should be an actuary.
Yeah. So
Jules and I are proud Richfield Spartans. Through and through, go Big Red. Okay. So it's funny. So I want to know if anybody who is watching tonight has been book shamed or genre shamed. But it's funny because I am writing my current manuscript that is due very, very soon that I am behind on and finally badly catching up on. Is about a bookstore where like people it's called the Book Haters Book Club, and this woman is the natural choice to inherit her mother's bookstore in Minneapolis, except she's not a writer, and so she goes through circumstances, she ends up working there, and she feels shamed about everything because like one of the women is a very highbrow reader and one of the women is very like it's not interesting unless it comes out of you would love this unless it comes out of like Regency in England, Regency books. Like everything Jane Austen is acceptable, but if the person doesn't speak with an English accent, it doesn't interest her. So you would love her, Jules. You would love reading those kinds of books. What do you like to read? When you were smart,
Honestly, I don't think I can read. Like, I don't think I have the attention span.
did you have a
So I feel,
genre you liked when you were smart enough to read?
I went through like a real like crime kind of stuff, but then that hits too close to home with my
Oh,
husband's job now, where I'm like, I just can't. Like,
her husband's a
too much
detective.
stuff is brought home. Yeah, just kind of, yeah.
Do you
I think
tend
maybe
to,
that's,
do you lean towards stuff that makes you laugh or stuff that makes you think or stuff that reminds you of television and then you put the book down and go watch TV?
it has to be more laugh stuff because I think there's
Yeah.
enough stuff out there that's like so heavy right now that it's like, no.
Oh, this is good. Bethany says she feels ashamed about reading everything by Danielle Steele. And
Yes. Especially like when you are younger too, or like Judy Bloom, like when you read those books and you like hide it like inside your notebook or something, you'd be like,
did you feel shamed about Judy Bloom? I always hid it under my mattress because I was afraid because I was reading Jeannie or whatever. Is that the one where she has her period and she has sex?
oh, I was thinking more like the one like wifey and stuff that were like a little bit more like,
Like young adult
yeah,
or
yeah,
middle. Yeah, young adult ones.
yeah.
Renee says read she reads, she read Danielle Steele as an adult. Don't she? I can honestly say I have never read a Danielle Steele book. Have you read one?
Yeah, I read it as teens, but because my sister, like my brothers are like 17 years older than me, so I had sister-in-laws that age, so they would read them, and then I would read them as like 13, 14, and yeah, I would be like, oh my gosh, like what? This is, I'm too young to know what's going on here.
I felt shamed. Do you remember the VC Andrews books, like
Oh
Flowers
yeah,
in the Attic?
yeah.
Yeah, I felt book shamed about those. And I still feel book shamed because like sometimes I pick up these highly literary books that like are just everybody is raving about. And I'm like, eh. I mean, yeah, maybe the writing is beautiful and all that stuff, but it kind of depresses me. Okay, Karen is saying, "Are you there, God? It's me,
Yes,
Margaret." Yes, that is the one where she gets her period. Yes, and then Jeannie is the one where she has sex. Yes, just
yes.
yeah. And "Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret." Is the one you kind of read right before you get, or you used to get the. Do you remember the sample box when you had the talk in 5th grade?
Oh yeah.
It had the maxi pad
This,
that was like the size of a sponge, you know?
yes,
It had the "You're turning into a woman now" pamphlet,
yes.
and it was like written 20 years before, but it hadn't been switched out.
You want
Okay.
a good laugh? Go watch the old ads for that. When they tell you like not
Ooh.
to play volleyball or go swimming or like you have to sit on the sidelines.
That's great. I
They're
remember
hilarious.
I remember
Your
that was a
life
good
is over
question.
for a week.
If I go swimming, can I go
Yeah.
swimming when I'm having my period?
No, they tell you not to even like go square dancing or play volleyball or like the weirdest things where you're like, who wrote this?
Oh, Lori is saying "Forever" was the one with sex. What? Oh, maybe Jeannie was her name. I don't know. Maybe I need to go back and reread all of my Judy Blume books.
Yes.
Okay, Amy is saying she's read a number of Philippa Gregory historical fiction books. Oh, like The Other Boleyn Girl and The Queen's Fools. My husband liked to point out, we know how it's going to end. LOL. Yes, but I'm totally with you, Amy. Those are fascinating to me. I can't tell you how many movies I've watched about like Queen Elizabeth because she was a badass. Let's just say that she was a badass. Okay. My daughter read that in 1st grade, asked me
Oh
what
my
a
gosh.
period was.
Too soon. Way too soon for that combo. Nope.
Poor thing. I have all boys, and they're just like, "Mom," because I try to use the words. I'm like, "Don't be ashamed. Your friends shouldn't be ashamed to talk about that." And they're just like, "Mom." Okay, I'm loving this conversation. By the way, people, Julie may have to leave early tonight because she is actually sparing us time from another engagement, and we appreciate it very much. Okay, question number 8. Do you believe in the idea, this is a good one, of a happily ever after? What would your happily ever after look like in real life? Are you a happily ever after type gal, Jules?
I think so. Like I think at best everything like evens out, I would
Yeah.
say. You know what I mean? Like, and I think things, I mean, I guess like the most recent thing I would say, and this kind of ties into later tonight, is like losing my two dogs to cancer, and then that other puppy just like magically appearing in my life when, you know, like never saw that coming, never even like being ready for another dog, and then all of a sudden someone just calls you up and is like, "Hey, can you rehome this puppy that we have?" It's like, yeah, oh, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like things just, I think they just work out. I mean, you don't see
Yeah.
them happening, and they do. So
I
I
think
believe
you're
that.
fundamentally an optimist.
What was that?
I think you're fundamentally an optimist.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm curious about everybody out there. Are you a happily ever after person, and what would your happily ever after look like? So I am, except that my concept of it changed. I remember back in my 20s thinking this is the time when I have to meet the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, and I would meet someone who met like maybe 75% of that criteria and just like glob on because I felt like, okay, this is probably close enough. And I didn't understand. They were so much work and I didn't understand why. I kept thinking, like, is it me? Are we, is this supposed to get easier with time? Ugh. You know, they're easier to break up with when they're not as cute. But I don't know. Jules, you found your happily ever after quite early. But so as things went on, and I would say I found my happily ever after, but I think it's because like I trusted him. Like and I still trust him, thankfully. I trust him. It's like it was like easy. I knew that I wasn't so blind by that point when I met him that I didn't think that hard stuff was going to come along. It's just that I trusted him to go through it with me. That's kind of a happily ever after, don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I think so. But I definitely don't like have the princess in the castle type idea of it.
But I think you have to have someone that is going to grow and change with you too, because I think people like they find someone and then like you change what you want in life, and that person is like, nope, this is what I've always wanted, and like I'm not going to deviate. And then if they're not going to grow and like move with you, then it doesn't. Then I
Yeah.
think that kind of.
Yeah. Renee, who knew me in my 20s when I was trying to figure all this stuff out. So she's still trying to figure it out, but she definitely agrees with Julie that things even out over time. I agree with that. I think that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, she's figuring it out. I think you're more than figuring it out, Renee. All right, so we are coming up on the bottom of the hour, everybody. But all right. So here's the question that I always struggle with romance. Because I get into romance and I know that they're going to get together. And sometimes, and a lot of the time that bugs me because I'm like, but I know they're going to get together. You know, I don't know that they're going to, maybe they're going to break up at the end. I know they're going to, you know, there's going to be peaks and valleys and then they're going to end up together. I love a romance when it's, you know, something like this where there's just a lot of feeling and a lot of like humor behind it. But the question is, do you prefer to read books with a certain kind of ending? Do you like to know what to expect? I have friends who are just like avid romance readers and they're like, but that's the point. You're supposed to just, it's the journey. You're supposed to enjoy the journey, not the destination, which is funny because that's what my mom always said when we were stuck in the car driving on all these road trips when we were kids. You're supposed to enjoy the journey, which I probably say to my kids now. I don't know. What do you think, Jules? Do you like to know the ending or do you not?
I don't like to know the ending. I want to be surprised because I feel like if I know the ending, then I feel like, well, I could have written that.
I could have written
If I
that.
see it coming, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to, but I mean, I feel like that's probably the opposite of what everyone else wants. Like I feel like everyone else, wants to be on like that guided path, but I
Yeah.
want to be like blown away, like didn't see that coming.
Didn't see that coming. Okay, so
Aliens landed and boom.
okay, that's okay. So Bethany is saying this is why she doesn't usually read romance. I don't like to know the ending, which is funny because I'm so like that, but I don't want a life that like I don't want a boring life, but I don't know. I don't know. Do you like a Gone Girl twist in the middle? Like, do you like to read those books that like are constantly keeping you on edge? Or are you more a character person? Like, do you like to fall into the characters?
I don't like too much twist because I get super confused. Like where I'm like, wait, what just happened? I don't want to have to like map it out on a whiteboard to stay on track. But I do like some twists where I'm like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Like
Yeah.
I don't want it to be so predictable that it's like, yep, I knew everything that was going. I was like one step ahead the whole time.
Yeah. 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 Okay, so Karen is saying, I like to feel like I have some idea where the book is going, but she doesn't want to know exactly where it ends up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Like, you need to know the central dilemma. You need to know what these characters want, which is what my editor is always telling me, and my book group, my writers group is always telling me, we don't know what they want. And I'm like, damn it, I'm trying. I don't know yet. But really, you can't connect to them if you don't know what their problem is. Renee is saying surprise endings are the best. I am a sucker for a surprise ending. Like I want to be thrown for a loop.
Yep.
Yeah, and Karen is saying she needs a few twists and turns. So, okay, so we're going to wrap up this discussion, but I do want to know if there are other things that people wanted to chat about with Beach Read. Jules is going to wrap up because she's got places to go. So send me your questions and your comments about Beach Read. And if we probably have like 5 minutes left. So if we don't get through all the questions, I was going to add a special segment for tonight called Gretchen Reads the Spicy Bits. So I might read a few of the spicy bits out loud, like a suburban mom. So anyway, I'm going to give you a round of applause, Jules. Thank you for
Thanks everyone.
joining.
I'm gonna X out of here and hopefully you don't ruin your live stream.
No, you won't. Okay.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks.
Okay, so I am still here waiting for your questions. Oh, tell me if you read the book, if there was anything you liked in particular. I really liked the January character. I felt like I resonated with her. And it was funny because especially now that I am on book deadline and I'm manic, I really got what she was saying. I mean, even down to the word counts. I am driven by word counts, and I have my average is I try to write when I'm not on book deadline. I try and read write at least about 1,000 words a day. 1,500 words a day is really good, but when you're kind of just figuring the story out, it's a lot slower. And when you're learning the characters, I like to say I'm getting to know them as I write them, and that's slower. But now that the manuscript is due at the end of the month, I'm literally doing the math on how many more words, because the average contemporary fiction book is about 90,000 words. So literally every day here you can see my notes that every day I have to get to this number if I'm going to stay on track to finish by the end of the month. Today, I had to get to 61,268 words, and I wrote up to 61,268 words. I got to 61,266 words, and that wasn't enough. So I literally wrote 2 more words, added a period, and saved the file. That was all I could do. Oh, this is a good yeah, this was a good one. Did anyone else picture Gus as Justin Baldoni? That is really funny. I can't say I did. It didn't bother me, but I couldn't picture Gus in my head. Kind of he sort of morphed for me over time. I guess I imagined him as like, if you contrast him to Jacques, who was like very smooth skinned and totally fit and totally toned. I don't know. I kind of pictured him as like one step down for that, but I did like hearing about his salt and pepper hair. I have a thing for salt and pepper hair. Renee saying she did not see the spice coming in this book. I only saw the spice coming in this book because someone told me to expect it. A little birdie did. So I was looking for it. I don't know who that is. I couldn't picture Gus either. So, hey, Amy, you want to just drop a note about who Justin Baldoni is? Okay. And then, would y'all like me to read one of the spicy parts? I can read it in my Minnesota suburban mom accent, see if it adds anything to it. Okay. This is from this scene in the drive-in. I knew how it was going to end. Have you ever been busted for making out in a car by a cop or a park ranger or anything like that? It's really embarrassing. I can say from personal experience. You get that knock, knock, knock with the like flashlight on the window. Yeah. It's really embarrassing. Okay. His mouth dragged warm beneath my jaw and then up my lips. His teeth skated across my bottom lip, and a small hum of pleasure went through me. His mouth quirked into a smile, even as it sank hot and light against my mouth, coaxing it open. He tasted like vanilla and cinnamon left over from the ice cream surprise, only better than the dessert itself had. His heat rushed into my mouth, into me, until it was flooding through me, racing like a river current picked up by the sun. This is spicy. Want dripped through me, pooling in all the nooks that formed between our bodies. Page 157 if you want to continue. So that's all I have for tonight. Okay, Amy gave us the link, Wikipedia for Justin Baldoni. Paley Fest. You'll have to look it up. People. All right, don't forget, next month, we are going to be joined by Kathleen West to talk about Are We There Yet? This is social media gone wrong, causing a whole hullabaloo of drama in a group of parents at a school. I haven't read it yet because it was just released, but I do know Kathleen and I know she can write a good book. So we are looking forward to that, and you will enjoy hearing from her. She herself has a good sense of humor, and she's also a teacher. So she knows of which she speaks. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us. I'm sorry Emily couldn't join us tonight, but them's the breaks. We didn't get what we wanted, but we still got a happy ending because we got Julie Bane with us. Seriously, if you do live in Minneapolis and once we're back doing normal life things again, I know she often does a show on New Year's Eve that we saw a couple years ago, and she's really terrific. Check her out if you need a night out. So thanks, everybody. See you soon. Take care. Be safe. Get your shot.